Good morning. You know what day it is? Hump day! Mike, 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 Mike. So, outside in front of my house, so I have a little bit of light so you can see me. It is snowing here in northern Illinois as I finish up my trek at any given time. Our triad, our physiology, our focus, our language slash belief. And if we pay attention to those things and change those things, we can change how we feel and literally direct our feelings. You can at any given time decide this is how I'm going to feel about this particular event and choose to feel a certain way about anything. You know, even the loss of a loved one. I mean, are there people who lose significant others and see this as a transition, as something that isn't horrible? Of course there are. So we decide how we feel. So now, what do you do with that information? Well, you know that consciously now you can make that decision. So when something happens, if you change your physiology, a radical change in physiology is going to radically change how you feel. You can change what you're focused on. You know how to do that by asking questions. Questions decide what we focus on. What if everything was happening for me instead of to me? What if life was happening for me instead of to me? Great question. What could I learn from this? What's great about this? When your brain says nothing, you can say, what could be great about this if I wanted it to be? What am I grateful for? Who do I love? Who loves me? So, how do we now take that and use it even more? Well, the next step is now to condition this so that it becomes habitual. That's the next thing to do, because there's always going to be a stimulus, and then we're going to have a response to the stimulus. That's kind of never going to end. Okay? That part of life never changes. So what we want our response to that stimulus to be something that's helpful and taking us towards achieving our outcomes, because all of this is designed to manage your state. Remember, everything here, big picture, is designed to manage your state, because when we manage our state in tough times, we make better choices. People who make better choices live better lives. It's that simple. So all of this is designed to manage our state. So if we can condition this and make it habitual, then we don't have to think about it, which makes it so that the reaction doesn't happen. So that when something happens, you don't have that so much of that quick reaction. Are you going to occasionally? Sure, of course you're going to. We're all human. But the more we condition these types of outcomes, the more our reaction is going to be something other than a reaction that doesn't serve us. So, how do we condition these things? This is all part of the rituals. So, when we talk about morning rituals, when we talk about morning questions, remember that? Remember the five questions you're going to ask yourself every morning? Who do I love and who loves me? How does that make me feel? What am I grateful for? Or what could I be grateful for? How does that make me feel? What am I excited about? How does that make me feel? Morning questions are a way to condition that type of thought process so that it becomes habitual. So then when anything happens, your brain will go to those conditions. Your brain is a supercomputer, but it doesn't come with a user manual, and you got to program it. And we can sit back and do nothing, in which case other people program our brain for us, like beer commercials or Instagram or whatever. Or we can take charge and we can program it ourselves. And we program it ourselves by doing these types of activities. Why am I out in the snow in the morning? Because I'm going to do my morning walk. I'm going to do my incantations. Because it grinds that stuff in. And it's like exercising. Can you exercise really hard for 10 days in a row and then you don't have to exercise for the rest of your life? No. You got to, if you want to stay healthy and in good shape, you got to exercise for the rest of your life. It never stops. And sometimes you got to adjust. Sometimes you got to change your approach and exercise in different ways and do things differently. And then you're going to get an injury. Everybody does. And so you're going to have to adapt as to how do you do that. This is the same thing. It's like that plane flying from Chicago to Hawaii. It's got to adjust itself all the time, and you have to do it with this stuff. That's why we call it success conditioning now. It used to be called neurolinguistic programming, but that idea of programming kind of created a false idea. Now it's called conditioning, because you got to condition yourself every day. So you take this triad and you condition it every day. And you do that by directing your thoughts and your focus and your physiology. The more you use your physical body, as you do this, the more you ingrain it in. So I was having this conversation yesterday with some people in my office. Who's spectacular at doing this? Who is spectacular at taking anybody and ingraining a certain set of beliefs into them? The military, the Marine Corps, Navy SEALs. Does it matter to them what background you are, what your intelligence level is, what your religion is, what your race is? No. And do they completely change your beliefs about the world and what you are able to do in it? Oops, I hit the wrong button. Hang on. So I got to figure out how to turn you guys back. Does it make any difference to them, any of those things? No. And how do they do it? They do it using standards. They create incredibly high standards, and they start with the little things: haircut, dress, how you're going to walk, how you're going to talk, how you're going to make your bed. They start with all of that stuff. And then they start with incantations. As you're running and using your physical body, you're incanting all of the things that are going to make you a Navy SEAL or a Marine or whatever. And they take a regular person and they turn them into a killing machine. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they're designed to do, is train you to go be a warrior. And the system that they use is a system that we can use to program yourself to be anything. Set high standards, start living by those standards, starting with the little things. Where do they start? Haircut. They start with a haircut. They start with standing. They start with talking. They start with little tiny things. Little things become big things. And then they go to incantations and they use the physical body. If you do all of those things with yourself, you're going to create a new identity. Every day in every way, I'm feeling stronger and stronger. All I need is within me now. You keep conditioning that stuff over and over and over again, and now it becomes who you are. It isn't just what you say, it becomes who you are. The old adage of fake it till you make it, there's some truth in that adage about if you conceive it and you believe it, then you can conceive it. That's the other way to look at fake it until you make it. So use this triad and condition yourself for a better life. And it never stops. Every morning, look at your morning questions, look at your roles, look at your goals. Do something physical almost every day if you can help it. And even if you can't get outside or whatever, whatever you can do, that's what you're going to do in order to condition yourself for future success. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm going to say hi to the people that said hi. Mr. Drehobel, it's not snowing where you are. My Uncle Bill, great to see you. Chanel, our clerk, thank you so much for watching. Anita, great to see you as always. Gary, good morning. Patty, you made it this morning. I must be a little bit later. Thank you for watching, everybody. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.